Welcome to another edition of From the Press Box, heard every Monday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on 90.3 WHPC, streaming at nccradio.org, also on the iHeart Radio app and tunein.com. This show will become a podcast later on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Spreaker.com, and the rest. My name is Rob Leonard, and joining me, of course, is my brother and, yes, award-winning sports writer Tim Leonard. Hello, brother. How are you?
Greetings, brother. I'm doing all right. Not my usual outstanding. I had my second COVID shot on Saturday. Still feeling some of the side effects, but feeling better.
Good to hear. Were you down on Seaver Way?
Yes, I was, and there's still far too much trash on Seaver Way.
There is way. I was down there.
The Mets really need to do something about that.
They really do. And you know what? Yesterday, Suzanne and I, our sister, Suzanne heard that if you went down to Citi Field, I keep calling it Shea, but it still is. Yes. You can just get online and they had doses waiting for you. So Suzanne and I go down there and we got online. And unfortunately, there was a guy online like checking people, and he said, you have to be a citizen of Queens to do this. You can't, I'm from Nassau. So,
the woman there told me that wasn't the case because I asked her. I specifically said, do you have to be a resident of Queens? And she said, no, you can be from anywhere.
Well, the guy was then mistold something because, we left because, Suzanne's like, well, just tell me you live in my place. I'm like, well, they're going to ask my ID says. So... But, Seaver Way, man, I hadn't been down there. Usually when I go to a Mets game or to Citi Field, I take the train. Seaver Way, which is supposed to be, for the classiest Met ever, God, that's a ugly place to be. I mean, it's just like, there are, I don't want to call them chop shops, it's the wrong word, but there are car repair places that, can't they rebuild it at least? Why does it have to look like a rundown place that no one wants to go to, literally across the street from a very nice-looking stadium? It just looks horrible. And it has to be called Seaver Way,
I don't know what you want me to say, brother, but
I would want you to agree with me.
It's a bit of a blight over there, and of course these auto mechanic places aren't going to rebuild their places just to look nicer. I mean, if the Mets probably should have said, hey, we'll put a new front on your building and we'll pay for it just to make it look nicer. But if you can't expect people running a garage to say, oh, sure, we'll spend $50,000 to beautify our place. Well,
it's an ugly place around there. I mean, I'm just surprised that, when they were building the stadium, they didn't, I mean, I know they tried to go to these garages and say, hey, come on, we'll give you a nice payout. And none of them took it. I'm like, what are they waiting for? Like $1 million each or something? $5 million each?
Who knows? Maybe. I mean, anything is possible. I mean, Steve Cohen sure does have a lot of money now. So,
the funny thing about it is that there's a parking lot as you go towards Roosevelt Avenue, I think it is, and it's been untouched for years. I mean, there's stuff growing out of the cement.
I would love to open a bar right in that area. And just either take over one of those garages and just open a bar, because there's nothing around. No,
there isn't.
There was never anything there around Shea Stadium, and there's nothing around Citi Field for a pregame, hang out, do whatever. And it really is kind of sad because other stadiums, there's atmosphere, there's things to do. I mean, let's face it, Wrigley Field is probably the king of all of that. But even Yankee Stadium. There's stands and there's places, there's places right by the stadium where you can go in.
There's a McDonald's there too in Yankee Stadium.
Exactly. It used to be a great fish place too, but they closed it. But there's things to do and places to go before the game. You can hang out, and at Citi Field there's nothing. It's a wasteland.
They want you to go inside to the restaurants or something,
right?
By the time you get inside, by the time you get frisked down, you're not going to go to the restaurant. You're just going to go to your seat. So anyway, I was a little disappointed by the area, to be honest with you. But maybe Uncle Stevie could come in and start laying out some cash.
He should address that. He really should address that issue. That should
he has other things to address right now.
True, but that should be one of the things on his list.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Anyway, brother, never thought we'd be saying this, brother, but the Mets are in first place, and the Yankees are the second worst team in Major League Baseball.
How about those first place Mets?
7-4. Mind you, they've had a lot of games postponed. But the Yankees are 5-10, brother. The second worst team except for the Colorado Rockies.
And that's thanks to the Mets.
And that's thanks to the Mets. And what's going on, brother? Let's start out with the Yankees, because Yankee fans are ready to get rid of Aaron Boone, Brian Cashman. They're getting ready to, dump everyone, as Yankee fans always overreact, worse than Met fans, actually.
Well, no, that's crazy, brother. Met fans are the biggest overreactors
No, Yankee fans are. Yankee fans complain when they have an all-star 9-player team on the field, and they say, well, we need backups for second base.
You keep saying that same thing over and over, brother. Come on.
That's because I heard it years ago on a sports talk show.
Come up with something new.
I heard it on a sports talk show once, and I was laughing.
Well, let's face it. Right now, nothing is going right for the Yankees. Garrett Cole pitches well, the Yankees lose. None of the starting pitching has been beyond Garrett Cole has been poor. The offense has been poor, and the defense really hasn't been very good. The Yankees lead the league in unearned runs. So basically, if you want to know what's going wrong with the Yankees, basically the short answer is everything. There's nothing really good happening right now. They're struggling to hit. The Yankees team batting average is .210. That's abysmal. This is a team that was built. This lineup was assembled to destroy opposing teams. They are. Now,
when you say that, brother.
Yes.
When you say that, do you mean, something we've talked about before, that let's go for every time we're at bat, we get a home run? Is that what you mean?
No, okay. Not at all.
Because that's the way I think the Yankees were set up, and that's why they're batting so bad.
Well, in some ways that is the case, but these are, this team was assembled to hit. DJ LeMahieu is supposed to be a 310 or a 320 hitter. And he's not the problem. I mean, he's batting about 280. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But Gleyber Torres is a guy who should be hitting a lot better than the 220 or so that he's hitting. Aaron Judge has been hitting fairly well, but he missed a few games because with another, he had a side injury. It wasn't an oblique; it was a side injury. But so many guys on the team just aren't hitting. Clint Frazier doesn't have an RBI yet this season. The Yankees have played 15 games. He does not have a single RBI.
That's not right.
Gary Sanchez started hot. He's no longer hot. Aaron Hicks has been pretty much terrible as far as hitting, especially in yesterday. Defensively wasn't very good either. So there's just a lot going on now. If you have any kind of sense at all, and instead of panicking, you look at it and you say, all right, well, these guys all have history. They all are much better players than what they've shown so far in 15 games. So, let's not get crazy yet. But, of course, on Twitter, it's, Aaron Boone has to be fired. Aaron Boone has to fix this mess. Don't forget Cashman. He's the one that put this all together. And, he's the one that brought in Corey Kluber and Jameson Taillon, and they've been terrible. Well, yeah, you know what? If a pitcher has 2 bad starts in a row in July, nobody really notices. But when a pitcher has 2 bad starts to open the season, all of a sudden it's calamitous. So, let's not overreact. Let's not get too crazy, and let's at least let the first month of the season go by before we start saying that we need to make wholesale changes. I mean, think about it. When Yogi Berra got fired 13 games into the season by George Steinbrenner, how many years ago? Decades ago. But when that happened, and Yogi went, 13 years without talking to Steinbrenner. So, and that was because what happened was unfair. It was totally unfair. Sports writers thought it was unfair. Yogi clearly thought it was unfair. But that is where we are right now. We're 15 games into the season. let's let it play out a little bit. Let's see. Corey Kluber should turn back into Corey Kluber and be that kind of guy. And if he's not, well, then you know what? It's a bad signing, and then there's not a whole lot you can do about it. But let's let the guy get a few starts in and kind of find his feet. The same thing goes for Taillon. I mean, Taillon is should be a good pitcher. He's made a few bad pitches, but he's a guy that I think should be good, and we'll see what happens with it. He's got a revamped delivery, so maybe he's still feeling that out a little bit. But I mean, I can't stand it when people go out of their minds crazy and just say after we haven't even played 10% of the season. And they're talking about fire this, fire that.
Well, they're only 5 games under 500. I mean,
right, and that's it. And they've lost 5 in a row, so they've gone from 5-5 to 5-10,
right?
Which obviously is not good. It's the worst. It's the Yankees' worst start since 1997, I believe was the number that.
Right, and what happened in 1997, brother?
I have no idea what happened.
They won the division but lost to the Cleveland Indians. So or made the playoffs at least. They made the playoffs in 97.
There you go. So there you go.
So
what's the problem? That's what I'm saying.
Right.
But the problem
and think about this, brother. In 1997, the Yankees just won their first World Series in 96.
Exactly.
And they waited with Torrey. Torrey easily could have been out the door at that point.
Exactly.
But mind you, George wasn't maybe wasn't the same George by that point, let's be honest.
No, he wasn't. He was at that point probably already feeling some of the mental issues that he was having. And, I mean, I told you the story the one time that I saw him coming through the clubhouse, and he talked about the Yankees having won like 30-something World Series, and the Mets had won 9, and like people were like dragging him out of the clubhouse, and we all just kind of looked at each other as like, is anybody going to write that?
No, you don't write that.
Yeah, let's not do that. So
that's.
Yeah, but as somebody who wasn't there every day, and that was me, I'm kind of looking at regular beat guys, and I'm like, how often does that happen? Because you don't know. And then, obviously your first inclination is to put it in the paper, because here's George Steinbrenner sounding really crazy. And, they were like, no.
Yeah, well, that happens, brother. Sometimes you protect the team you're covering. It happens.
I mean, there's no reason to put, necessarily.
It happens with politicians too.
Well, yeah, and sometimes it doesn't, but people say it does.
Yeah. So anyway,
but also, let me just say this, brother.
Say what you're gonna say, brother.
The one thing that I wanted to point out that is really, is the reason why the Yankees are losing. 11 hits in 3 games against Tampa Bay.
Can't do that.
You can't win like that. That's what nobody is hitting right now. I mean, and that is a recipe for disaster. And when you're not getting starting pitching, and even yesterday they did get starting pitching. Garrett Cole gave up 3 runs. I mean, they maybe Boone left him in a little bit too long. But with Garrett Cole, he's your horse. You leave him in until he clearly doesn't have it anymore. And the Rays took the lead, a single and a double, and that was the go-ahead run. But you can't win games. 11 hits in 3 games. It's not even 4 hits a game. It's embarrassing.
No, I agree.
So, and nobody really has pitched well besides Cole. I mean, Jordan Montgomery had the one good start, and he's had one bad start. Domingo Germán had a couple of mediocre starts. And like I said, Taillon and Kluber, really neither one of them has had a good start yet. So, and Jay Bruce is another one who hadn't hit, and he announced his retirement actually on Saturday.
Do you think he was over, brother, or something else happening? He just hasn't announced yet. Injury. Something.
If he was injured, he'd go on the injured list and he'd keep collecting money. So that's it's not that. It's I mean, he's at a point in his career where he can't catch up to the fastball, or whatever it is. He just feels like. He said it in the press conference after Saturday's game. He expects a standard from himself, and he's not reaching that standard. And when you're a player, and you're looking at going in every day and performing, and you're not performing as you're used to, and you're feeling like you're being overwhelmed by the competition, That's when it's time to get out.
Yeah, but shouldn't he have known this in spring training?
Probably. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, he actually hit pretty well during spring training, and that's why it was a surprise to me that when the announcement was made, and especially since he had the first base job, he had that job for at least another few weeks until Luke Voit gets back. Voit had the knee surgery, and it's going to be at least another probably 3 weeks or so until he gets back. So he kind of leaves the Yankees in a lurch there. But if he's not satisfied with his own performance, then yeah, you make that kind of decision.
That's a tough decision to make, and especially in the season. I can understand at the end of the season, or going towards the end of the season, you say, "Oh, this is going to be my last season." But to do it at the beginning of the season, I don't know, man. Maybe he's just in a bad hitting mode right now, and 3 weeks he gets better.
Well, yeah. I don't know. Like I said, I mean, professional athletes know their bodies, they know their performance, and for him to make that kind of a decision, then there's something else at work there, and there's something in his mind saying to him, you know what, this is I'm not myself anymore. I'm not the guy who I'm used to being, and some guys will just ride it out for the year and wind up with, like a 160 batting average on the back of their baseball card for their final season. But I think, first of all, I think Jay Bruce saw the writing on the wall. I think when Luke Voit comes back, Bruce was going to be released. So, he just kind of beat the Yankees to the punch.
Yeah, but when he get paid for that, if he get released?
Well, I mean, he wouldn't
be bad to get that little extra money,
He'd get a few more weeks of salary, but I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know if they have to pay them the full contract that they release him. I would assume not.
I would assume they do, because it's their decision to get rid of him, not the players.
I'll research that one, brother.
Okay. Anyway, brother, Jacob deGrom got a win this weekend.
How about that?
All right.
And a win in a game where he left the game and the Mets were losing.
Yeah.
That would be the last time that happened for Jacob deGrom, where he left the game with the Mets trailing, which, is pretty much always. But the last time the Mets won a game like that for him was 2015, brother.
Yeah,
That's 6 years ago.
Yeah, he had 9 strikeouts in a row. And who's the all-time record holder of that?
That would be Tom Seaver, brother.
That's right. He has 10.
He of Seaver Way.
So it was nice to see Jacob. No, it was a 7-inning game, if I'm not mistaken. It was a doubleheader, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, what's with that? I thought they were getting rid of that this year. I wasn't paying attention.
I wish they would have, but apparently that's the thing. They kept some of these rules from last year that I don't like. And like the 7-inning doubleheaders and the runner on second base in the 10th inning. But the National League decided not to keep the designated hitter, which I thought was ridiculous.
Well, if I was going to keep the 3, I'd keep one. If I was going to keep one of the 3, it would be the designated hitter. I don't like starting the guy at second in the 10th inning. I don't like 7-inning doubleheaders. I don't like the designated hitter either, but if I had to pick one, it would be that one. I hope
the designated hitter would help the Mets immensely, brother. I mean, Met fans should be praying to the baseball gods for the designated hitter, because that allows you to put Dom Smith in there. It allows you to move Dom Smith and Pete Alonso to play one of them at first base and then DH the other one.
Right. No, that'd be great.
It allows you to take Dom Smith out of the outfield. He's not much of an outfielder. So there's a lot of positives that would happen for the Mets with the designated hitter. Not to mention that next year you're going to have Robinson Cano back. And he probably would be best suited as a designated hitter at this point, when you're going to have
not missed by the years.
Way. Well, but you're going to have 2 more years of his contract unless they buy him out, which who knows? Steve Cohen, as we said before, Steve Cohen's got a lot of money.
Well, yeah, but you keep your money. You stay rich by keeping your money. So you just don't start throwing around like you're at the crap table.
Well, but if you want somebody on the roster,
what's a craps table?
Craps.
Yes, craps.
But if you want a hitter who's actually going to produce for you, then maybe you do need to throw some money around to get rid of somebody who won't produce. Now, I'm not saying that Robinson Cano won't produce, because he has been a very good hitter, but he's not the best defensive defensive player out there. So
no,
we'll see.
The Mets beat the Rockies 2 out of 3. They're 7-4. They're in first place in the National League East, and can't say it again or more often or whatever. The Yankees are in last place in the American League East. So
wow, nice, bro, very nice.
Thank you. Well, us Met fans got to get a little happiness out of the Yankees being in last. I don't doubt they're going to get better. I have no doubt they're going to get better. But
so. Just wait.
But
I'm trying to be patient. I'm trying to be patient. Well, yeah, I mean, let's face it. The end of April, never mind the end of May. By the end of May, we're going to have played 50-something games.
Okay,
so
good point.
Or around 50 games anyway. I mean, it's we got 10, 40 more games. Yeah, so they'll be in game 50 or so by then. So
let's talk about the Nets, brother. First of all, the Knicks have been playing very well, but I want to talk about the Nets. Kevin Durant, bruised thigh. I mean, come on, what's wrong with the core three of this team? Can't get it together. I mean, they keep getting hurt, or they need days off to, cry or something. I don't know what, but this is a weird team because cry. I don't know, whatever they have to do.
Where do you get this stuff, brother?
I make it up, brother. You know that.
Yeah, I know. That's the problem.
I'm your brother. You've known this all your life. Anyway,
Kevin Durant's not crying, brother. All right.
I'm not saying he's crying. I'm talking about Kyrie Irving.
He's not crying either.
Well, whatever. I don't know. So, anyway, Durant had a bruised thigh on Sunday.
Yes. Apparently, ran into Trevor Ariza. Yeah, basically that's what it was. I mean, he was driving to the basket. There was a collision with Trevor Ariza. It looked like he took a knee to the thigh, and hit him in the right spot. And Durant tried to kind of walk it off, run it off, whatever. And his leg just said, "All right, you know what? I'm not having this." And he went once back up the floor, and even by the time he got to midcourt, he was waving at the Nets bench and said, "Look, I'm done." And they took him out of the game, and he'll probably be out. He'll probably miss a couple of games. But this is the issue that I'm having, and we've mentioned this in previous shows that this team since James Harden, since the trade for James Harden, the big three for the Nets have played just 7 games together.
Repeat that, brother.
I said the big three for the Nets,
right,
have played just 7 games.
7
together.
Games. That's 7, incredible.
Which is, I mean, it's ridiculous.
I know.
So that is those 3 guys are the players who are going to lead you to a championship. And if they can't stay healthy, then for each game one of them misses, your odds of winning a championship are reduced.
Right.
Now that being said, when the Nets record when 2 out of the 3 are healthy and playing is 20-5, that's a pretty good record. Nothing wrong.
That's a very good record.
Exactly. So that's what is it? 20 out of 25. That's 800. That's 800 ball. So the Nets basically, when at least 2 of these guys are healthy, are winning 3 out of 4 games, at least. So, but that being said, Harden is out right now. Now Durant's going to be out for a couple of games, so Kyrie is going to be the only guy there. And they need to figure out either how to get healthy or how to get everybody back. I don't know if they're over resting these guys to make sure, like the Yankees used to do that when they would get an injury. And in fact, they still do, really. If somebody gets hurt, it's like, just like, either put them on the disabled list or the injured list and just let them sit for 10 days. And a lot of players didn't like that because they were like, it's just, something that'll take 3-4 days and I'll be fine. But it was always extra cautious. Now, the Nets, as long as the Nets are healthy and ready for the playoffs, then none of this really will matter. But at the same time, you want to take the regular season seriously. And it doesn't seem to me like the Nets are taking the regular season all that seriously. And that's my concern for the postseason.
Well, they have to. I think the playoffs are where you make your move, but at the same time, if you're having playing together and you have to learn during the playoffs, then it might not be the best time to learn because you should have already.
Yeah, it's not the best time to learn. It's the worst time to learn.
You already know where the moves are.
Well, I mean, they know how to play well together. That much they've shown, but
Right, which is
you
nice.
just want them to have that kind of chemistry, and the only way you develop that kind of chemistry is by playing together. And like I said, for them to win a title, that teams that win titles have chemistry, and right now, I personally, I don't think they've played enough to develop that kind of chemistry and to really know each other's games. And, I don't know. We'll see. It's one thing to have, with Kyrie and with Harden, because both of those guys are ball handlers. They can make adjustments depending on who else is around them. With Durant, it's a little bit different because obviously he's got to rely on other guys to get him the ball. But, it's again, like the Yankees, it's a little too early to panic, but it's a disturbing trend. It just seems like one of these guys gets hurt, almost every time the Nets play.
Right.
Like I said, Harden's been out with a hamstring. Durant was out for 6 weeks with a hamstring. And now he's got this quad thing, thigh, quad, whatever you call it. But, like I said, he'll probably miss a couple of games because of that. So, and Steve Nash, the Nets coach, is all he's talking about is, it gives other guys a chance to step up. He uses that old tired coaching cliche. But, the Nets, who do they have to step up? LaMarcus Aldridge retired last week because of the heart issue that he had. He had an irregular heartbeat. Apparently, he had something called Wolff-Parkinson's White syndrome. That they do something called an ablation for, where they burn nerves in your heart that makes it beat too fast, and they kill them that way. But Aldridge just said, "I'm done. I'm not going to do this anymore," because he said it hit him during the game or whatever, and apparently it was worse than it had been in the past, because he's had this for years or something similar to it, where they've done a couple of treatments on it. But he said this time it was worse than any of those, and he literally, it happened. He retired the next day. Well, so that was somebody the Nets were counting on when they acquired him after he got this buyout from the Spurs, and so that's one less guy who could have an impact for them. Right, it's a little less depth for them. So.
Oh, well. You're listening to 90.3 WHPC, the voice of Nassau Community College. The show you're listening to is from the press box here every Monday morning, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. This show becomes a podcast later on Spotify, Spreaker.com, and the iHeartRadio app, among other places. And we are part of the WHPC Sports Talk family. We're on 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Mondays. But regular Sports Talk is Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m., with an additional show every Tuesday, 10 p.m. to midnight. I'm Rob Leonard. He's Tim Leonard. And, brother, we got to talk about something, and it might not mean a lot in the United States, but in Europe and everywhere else, it's turned into a big thing. And it kind of does mean something. Now, what is this Super League that's happening across the way for soccer? Does this mean like the Premier League is going away, or
no? Immediate. That's an immediate no. Well, I mean, the Super League is something. This all broke basically yesterday, and I'm still kind of learning some things about it. All I know is that most of my friends in the UK they couldn't be angrier about this, because basically what so far 12 teams, and they want it to be 15, and eventually it would be 20. But they want these clubs, and Tottenham Hotspur is one of these clubs, but they want it to be basically like an American league, where, like in the NFL, the NBA, the NHL, nobody's gaining promotion into the league. There's not a promotion and relegation system like they have over in Europe. If you're a really bad team one season, fine, you move down. You go from the Premier League down to what they call the Championship, which is like if Premier League is the top, then Championship is the second. It would be like a first division as opposed to a Premier division. So that is that these super clubs, the ones who have the most money and who spend the most money and, you know, for the most part win the most stuff because they have the most money to spend on players. They are the teams that want to put this Super League together, which it would basically replace the Champions League. Now, FIFA, UEFA, and already, you know, whatever organizations there are in soccer are already rebelling against this. And they're saying that penalties could be enforced that would mean that players on these teams wouldn't be able to play for their countries. So they want to squash this as much as possible. But there are billions of dollars at play here. So if each of those clubs stands to make somewhere in the neighborhood of $400 million if they join this Super League.
Wow.
But as of right now, there are 6 Premier League teams. There are a couple of Italian league teams. There's no German teams and no French teams.
So it's a multinational league.
Yeah, it's a European league. So it's England, it's Spain. I'm blanking on the rest of it. But like I said, no Germany and no France. So that means no PSG, no Paris Saint-Germain, no Bayern Munich. So already you have a couple of teams that and the reason being that the fans are so upset about it is because it really comes across as nothing more than even more of a money grab. And the fans over there have been fed up with the whole, you know, how money has taken over the game. You know, people just want to buy their season tickets, support their club, and hopefully win something. But with some clubs, it's gotten so out of hand with, you know, the Barcelonas and the Manchester Cities. And
yeah, but they don't have any, bottom line for, like, you know, what is it, salary cap or something?
Well, I mean, they have this thing called financial fair play, which means that the money you take in is supposed to be equal or a certain percentage of the money that goes out. So they don't want, like, you know, the oil barons and the sheiks and whatnot. They don't want them to just be able to bankroll a team and spend $1 billion and not have any you know, if they spend that much, there has to be an equal amount going the other way. Otherwise, these like I said, these oil sheiks would just spend as much money as necessary to win a title. So that is the limit. But that we talked about it before. Financial fair play, it doesn't have a lot of teeth to it because teams can get around it.
Sure.
And that's an issue. And like I said, when you talk about clubs like Manchester City, like Paris Saint-Germain, you know, and Barcelona, Real Madrid, especially those 4 teams, because they spend like there's no tomorrow. Chelsea's another one that just recklessly spends, but they're owned by a Russian guy. But those teams are kind of what has turned off fans in terms of the money in the game. And that's, again, what this whole thing with the Super League is about with the fans. And this is why most fans, people that I've spoken with, are against it. You would think that this whole concept of a Super League would be something that fans would get behind, but they haven't. Give me one sec. Okay. But the reason being, you know, if you play Champions League, you don't know who you're going to play from year to year. And it changes, and maybe you develop new rivalries and whatnot. The thing that people don't like about this proposition with the Super League is you'd wind up playing the same teams over and over. And, you know, while that might be nice for the first couple of years because it's still new and you still have top competition, you know, like for Tottenham, if you're playing Real Madrid, you know, a couple times a season, or you're playing Barcelona a couple times a season, or, you know, whatever, then that would be nice. But you're playing them every year, and that's going to get boring after a while.
But Tim, isn't that a similar situation to the Mets playing? I mean, not the Mets, the Yankees playing the Red Sox every year.
Yeah, but that's a rivalry.
Yeah, but that's how you start rivalries.
But
after a couple of years, it becomes a rivalry.
I heard it put this way, and I thought this was a great way. This was like a fan I saw on a video. He mentioned how when you go to work on a Monday, and you know there's the banter, and the Brits love the banter. I hate the banter, but they love the banter over there because they want to buzz chops, and they want to like, oh hey, your team was pretty crap on Saturday or whatever. You're not going to work if you're working in England, and you're not working next to a Roma fan or a Juventus fan. It's just not. If you're in England, you support English teams. So that's the drawback.
I don't know, Tim.
I'm just telling you what the people are saying.
I know, but I'm going to bring it to America. How many people in the New York area that we know, are Pittsburgh Steelers fans, Dallas Cowboy fans? They're not New York Giants fans. What?
Cowboys have a lot of fans. So
right, and so do the Steelers, and so do the Raiders. So there can be, you can be outside of your area or living in your area and like teams outside of your area. I mean, I know a lot of Steelers fans. I know a lot of Cowboy fans. And they all became Cowboy fans and Steelers fans in the late 70s when the second game was often one of those teams. So, they were kids. They're like, oh, what's this team? Oh, look, Terry Bradshaw. Look at that manly thing of hair he has,
Where?
Not anymore. But
Terry's been bald for a long time.
And now what you're saying also is, so this Super League, is that actually what they're going to call it?
Yes. It's got such an awful logo. For the amount of money that they're spending on this thing, and like I said, we're talking billions of dollars. The logo it looks like the logo cost about $7 to. Well,
I wouldn't be surprised. So basically, we'll mention Tottenham because you know Tottenham and I know Tottenham. Yes. They joined this new league. They don't play in the Premier League anymore. Is that what you're saying?
No, they would. They would still play in the Premier.
Well, how do you play in two leagues?
The Super League is like the Champions League, except there's more certainty in terms of who is in the Champions League. So
right, but isn't the Premier League like 11 months?
It's about 10 months, yeah, 10 maybe 10 plus, 10 and a half. But they have other competitions going on at the same time. Like if you play in the Premier League, you're also playing in the Champions League for the top 4 teams anyway. And right. A couple of others wind up playing in the Europa League, which is a lower level competition, but those are the teams from the Premier League that finish 5th and 6th. So, your best teams are also playing in European competitions.
Okay.
So they're playing basically in 2 leagues.
So they're going to play. It's like, for example, let's say Major League Baseball. Let's say the best teams in Major League Baseball started an alternate league,
right?
But stayed in Major League Baseball. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is something that goes on in soccer all the time. There's obviously you have teams that only play in the Premier League because they're not good enough to play in the other European leagues. But right. you have, like I said, the top 4 from the Premier League play in the Champions League, and the 5th and the 6th place teams would play in the Europa League. So the top 6 teams in the Premier League are playing in other competitions besides the Premier League. Now,
well, I think this is a good idea, brother.
Now, the difference on this let's put it this way. Nobody wanted this league. Nobody really asked for this league except these clubs. These clubs just want to make more money. And that is the negative to all of this is that, there was no cry for this. There was no fans demanding, oh, why can't we see the best against the best? Because we already see that. The Champions League takes care of that. Right. But now, and I understand why Tottenham, and I especially understand why Arsenal wants to be in this, because Arsenal right now is in something like 11th place in the Premier League. So for Arsenal to be part of this is music to their ears because they'll make a ton of money, and right now their performance wouldn't have them in any kind of European league for next season.
Wow.
So,
well, think about this, bro. Let's say Major League Baseball. We always hear about the low-level teams, the less spenders, the people like Pittsburgh and Kansas City and Tampa Bay and Miami. And what happens if, Major League Baseball had a spinoff, so to speak, and only the best teams were part of it? The Red Sox, the Yankees, the Mets, the Phillies, maybe the Nationals, Los Angeles, California, Seattle, whatever. And let's say you get it down to 20 teams, and then you leave the other 12 teams or so, whatever, depending what you want to start at, as the second league. I think that'd be fantastic, because then you don't have to worry about those other teams who don't spend money, because either they don't have it or they're just cheap. I think it would help baseball. I would love to see high spending teams. Like, I'd love to get rid of the spending cap, or the salary cap, whatever you want to call it, and have the Red Sox play the Yankees 20 times a year. Have the Mets play the Yankees.
They already play each other 19 times a year. So it's
even more.
Well, I mean, you'd lose to me, you'd lose some of the magic of the game. Because, I mean, I see what you're saying, but the other part of that is, the ticket prices will be more.
That's true.
Ticket prices go up immediately. You're basically selling out the fans. I don't think the fans would like it. Well, if
you can't afford tickets anymore, they wouldn't like it. So,
but that's part of this issue. These owners, really, they're just looking to make more money, and they're looking to ensure their place in this competition without having to earn their place in the competition. Because, like I said, true. 15 of these teams, and right now there's 12 for sure, but 15 of these teams would be non-negotiable. They would be in this league every year.
Right. No.
So even if they finish in 10th place in their domestic league, then they're still in this league.
Right, that makes sense.
Because they have the financial power.
That's right.
It has nothing to do with performance. It has everything to do with the financial might.
And that's not a bad thing in some people's eyes. So
it's not a good thing in my eyes.
To be honest with you, there is something happening with sports. It's starting right now. And when legalized gambling happens in 50 states, you're going to see a lot more of it. You're going to see a lot more corporations getting involved with sports. They're going to own the arena. They already are, but it's going to get even more focus. It's going to be like MSG is. You have your network, you have your arena, you have your teams. And then from there, you have the legalized gambling, which they'll get a percentage of or whatever. And there'll be other things along the way. And it's going to be huge corporations that you can buy on the stock market. You remember the Red Sox ownership was supposed to take the Red Sox. They own Arsenal, right, brother?
Red Sox own Liverpool, brother.
Liverpool, okay. They were going to take it, they were going to put it on the stock market.
Yes.
And then they decided not to, but they were going to.
Yeah, the Fenway Sports Group.
And they were going to make a ton of money. So there's a lot of money to be made in sports. And this is actually, as much as you might not like it, and I might not like it, because you don't want the tickets to go up too much where you can't even go to the games. You stop caring as much because you can't go at all. But at the same time, there's going to be a lot of money made. So I understand where you're coming from. This might not work either, brother. You got to get the networks to pay more money for this league. You're going to say, hey, well,
that's where all this money is coming from. And J.P. Morgan Chase has bankrolled this league. I mean, they've already said that they will bankroll the league. But that's TV contract obviously is where the money would come from. So when you look at it from the standpoint of being able to guarantee the participants, and when you have the biggest clubs in the world who are locked into a competition. And if you're a TV network and you can say, yes, Barcelona will be in, and yes, Real Madrid, and yes, Manchester United, Manchester City, and teams that have worldwide fan bases, that's obviously a very powerful thing, and that's something that will generate a lot of income. So that is, again, why this league, why the owners want it, because they see a way to make guaranteed money for themselves. And this is said to be driven by some of the American owners, the Glazers, who own Manchester United. They also own the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Like you said, the Fenway Sports Group with Liverpool, they're another team that obviously would be in this mix. Those people, they are said to be behind this, and they were the ones who kind of planted the idea that this is the way to go. And you don't have to qualify every year. And if you get injuries, or if for whatever reason your performances don't happen and you don't finish in fourth place in your league or the top four, then you'd still be guaranteed this money. And it's I don't like the idea. I like the idea of earning your place. And even though Tottenham isn't making, or I shouldn't say isn't making the Champions League, but most likely won't make the Champions League this season, and I'm not happy about that. But that's the beauty of international soccer, especially European soccer, is everything you get, you earn. And it changes from year to year. There's no guarantees for anybody. Manchester United won a lot for a lot of years, and then it fell off, and they're doing better this season. But there was, after Sir Alex Ferguson retired, they had a bit of a lull.
Well, brother, it's if you think about it, you mentioned the American owners, pushing for this. You know what? That's the way the Americans do it.
Right.
You're guaranteed your money.
Right.
And, for the most part, at least the national contract, the local contracts are different, obviously. So, that's part of it. And, sometimes guaranteed money. And wouldn't you get more soccer games, too, if there's a Super Soccer League and a Premier League and other leagues?
No, it'd be the same as the leagues that would be hurt from this would be the Champions League would be decimated, first of all, because then the Champions League would wind up probably. If German teams and French teams don't join this league, then those countries would dominate the Champions League, because now you're talking about if the Champions League would even take English teams, then you're talking about the 7th and 8th place teams in the Premier League, and you at that point you're talking about much weaker sides. So I don't even know how they would respond to that. But the Champions League and the Europa League, which, like I said, currently takes the 5th and 6th place teams. But if the Champions League was taking 7 and 8, then the Europa League would have to take 9 and 10. So now all you have to do in the Premier League is finish in the top half of the league. Right. And you're making some sort of European competition, which if you're a 10th place team, you don't deserve to be in European competition.
Yeah, well, at the same time, it's like you said, it's all about the money. It's the guarantee. They can start a new league, and all these are really big teams that have huge followings. This can make a lot of more money, TV rights and everything else. So, you might not like it, but it unless it just falls on its face, it's probably here to stay, brother. So well, no, it's believe me, this is certainly far from being done. But they are trying to go forward with it, and this has been something that's been talked about for years and years. But this time, it seems like they have some impetus to it, and they have people committing money to it. So we're going to have to see where it goes. But I can tell you, the supporters, the fans, are vehemently against this, and that's the teams that are in it. Like the Chelsea supporters trust. They have called this decision, quote, the ultimate betrayal. Well, they are, like I said, vehemently against this, and that you could say that for pretty much every Premier League side that has joined this. Those 6 teams have been just not right. Well, it's like I said, I think. I'm always liking when they start a new league because I like to see what's going to happen and how they do it. When MLS first started, I was like, how are they going to do soccer? And they've done a pretty good job on it. I don't think it's been perfect because the way they do it, but hey, they've been around 25 years now, so you can't really knock it. And it'd be nice to have a spring football league, but every time they try, they screw up. So, so anyway, let's change. Unless you have anything else to say, brother, we got about 8 minutes left.
Not about the Super League, brother, but I do have another soccer note.
Please make it fast.
This just happened a couple of hours ago. Tottenham Hotspur have given Jose Mourinho the sack, as they say over in the UK.
Okay,
he has been fired. I am a very happy man about this decision.
He's their coach, right, brother?
Yes.
Some people might not know that.
I never liked him, didn't want him. And
something? He didn't like you
absolutely
either.
Thrilled.
He hated you, brother.
I don't care. I don't care if he likes me or not. I did not want him. He spent 17 months in charge of my club. I said even before he was hired that if he was hired, I was going to stop supporting Tottenham until he was fired. I didn't do that because I decided I have to support my club no matter what. But I am just over the moon that he is gone. And the reports, and this ties back to the Super League. Reports say, and I'm hearing that they're false, but the reports say that Mourinho refused to bring his team onto the field for practice after learning that Tottenham was one of the teams in the Super League. Now, again, I'm hearing that report was false, but that was supposedly.
Well, you know how rumors start, brother.
Yes, but that was supposedly given by the club as the reason for the firing. So right now, former Tottenham midfielder Ryan Mason is expected to take over as what they call the caretaker manager. We would call that interim for the remainder of the season.
Caretaker? Was he cleaning the field too? I mean,
no, he doesn't have to. They have pristine fields over there.
I'm sure, bro.
You can eat.
I'm being funny. I'm being funny. You're not laughing.
But Ryan Mason could win silverware this weekend because Tottenham will be facing Manchester City in the final of the Carabao Cup, which is another competition. But
okay, great.
That's just for English clubs.
Okay, brother.
So we'll see what happens there.
Okay, we got about 6 minutes left, 5 minutes left, actually. Quickly, do the Jets make a move for a quarterback before the draft? Yes or no?
Before the draft? No, they're taking Zach. Zach, what's
okay. Are we sure of that? Are we sure that
yes,
traded away?
They're not trading. He's their guy. They're going with him. You'll see. It's only 10 days to the draft. The draft starts on the 29th. Jets will go QB. I don't know who they're going to go with at pick 23. There've been a lot of mocks have had them going with the Alabama running back Najee Harris. I don't know. I would have an issue with that because if you're going rookie quarterback and rookie running back in the same backfield, that sounds dangerous.
Well, that'd be good.
Too much rookie.
The good thing about it, though, they learn together, and they would know each other's strengths and weaknesses right away.
True, so, but I don't know. I mean,
I would.
Don't get me wrong. Harris is a great player.
I would definitely do it.
And I think this will be this coming season is still kind of a throwaway season for the Jets. But don't tell new coach Robert Saleh I said that. But this is going to be a learning season, a growth season. So it wouldn't be a horrible move to double up on offense for the Jets in the first round. But we'll see where they go with that number 23 pick. The Giants. Who knows? I've seen so many different positions. The Penn State linebacker has been out there for a couple of times. I don't think they'll go receiver since they signed Kenny Golladay as a free agent. But who knows? If Devontae Smith or somebody like that is there, it's tough to pass on a talent like that.
Right.
Or there's always the chance to beef up the offensive line if somebody drops. That's always a good way to go, but I don't know. I could see the Giants going defense with that number 11 pick.
Yeah, I can too. We got about 3 more minutes. Quickly, the Islanders are now in second place in the East, 60 points. They beat the Flyers 1-0 off a deflection by a Flyer, so they got lucky with that. They're 1-4 in the last 5 games, so they're in a little bit of a slump.
No, they've won 2 of their last 5 games, brother.
2 of the last. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry. I thought it was just one.
No.
Anyway, they're in second place behind the Caps. The Rangers are playing well. They could be in the playoffs.
Thanks to a bunch of games against the Devils. The Rangers are beating the Devils 4 straight times. So, that's helping them zoom up the standings.
You take every game you can when you're in that position, brother. The Devils have been disaster this year. Of course,
but the Rangers could catch the Bruins. The Islanders could have helped the Rangers out by beating the Bruins one of those games, because the Bruins beat the Islanders in back-to-back games, and the Islanders didn't look good doing it. They hit a little bit of a lull there, and that's why they're behind the Capitals right now. But the Penguins are 1 point behind the Islanders, so it's a real tight East division.
Yeah, as much as I like the back-to-back games because they're kind of fun, if you're playing bad, you're going to lose 2 games in a row. So
yeah, and that's been the issue for the Islanders. They had a couple of games there, a handful of games where they just weren't scoring very much, and even to get the 1-0 win over the Flyers, that's still not scoring much. So I don't know if they're still adjusting to the moves and getting Kyle Palmieri and Travis Zajac from the Devils and incorporating them into the lineups and trying to figure out who's playing where and who's playing with who. But that's something that Barry Trotz has got to figure out, and he's got to find some comfort zone with some guys, because the playoffs are coming and they're coming soon. So
yes, they are. So
that's what they got to get figured out.
And especially since the Islanders are going to be playing in their last playoff series ever now at the Nassau Coliseum. Like I said, it'd be nice to go out with at least getting to the finals. I don't know if they're going to win the finals, but it would be nice if they got there. Yeah. And because this is going to be the real last time. They're not coming back to the Coliseum unless the UBS Arena gets taken away by aliens or something. They need a new arena on Mars or something. I don't know. Anyway, brother, that just about does it. You never know, brother. Anyway, I've seen enough movies.
No, I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen, bro.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, you're listening to 90.3 WHPC, the voice of Nassau Community College, from the press box for the last hour every Monday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Thanks to Sean for keeping us on the air. I'm Rob Leonard. Joining me has been my brother and award-winning sports writer Tim Leonard. This will be a podcast.
And fully vaccinated sports writer Tim Leonard.
And newly vaccinated. I'm May 9th or May 11th, and I'll be done then. Anyway, thanks a lot. This will be a podcast later on. Take care. Bye-bye.